What's up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoint's Media Club, your one-stop shop for discussions on all things movies, video games, television shows, but never books. Today we are discussing the first episode of Marvel's What If, Captain Carter. Joining me today is LeighErin Jass. And let's hope we don't see his shirt today, Bret Jamerson.
Hello.
All right, guys. So What If's finally out. First Marvel official MCU property, not first Marvel Studios thing, to be in animation. What did you guys think so far?
Good. It's good. I mean, I don't know. I liked it. I have some issues with it, but I had other stuff that I loved.
Yeah.
But
What about you, Bret?
Yeah, for me, it was good, not great. And my expectations going into this were not as high as they were for WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, and Loki. I don't know if that's because it was animation or just because I knew this was playing around with pieces and stuff more freely than the existing or the previous live action shows. So because my expectations weren't crazy, I thoroughly enjoyed what we got, and excited to see more, and liked it.
I wouldn't say my expectations for this were necessarily low, but I feel like it's almost hard to have any expectations to an extent, because it's like none of the episodes we are expecting to fully intertwine with the ones previous to it or the ones that are coming after. So next week's episode might be incredible. We might all love it and say it's amazing. And this week's episode was just kind of, it was cool. Maybe it's a first episode thing. Maybe it's just some episodes are going to be better than others. I definitely want to see the rest of them and see what goes on.
Yeah, it's hard to tell since this is only the first episode. I know a lot of the big Hollywood critics and stuff got the first 3 episodes already. So since this episode was pretty much a retelling of the first Avenger with some things mixed up, obviously, it'll be interesting to see where, I know episode 2 is T'Challa as Star-Lord.
Yeah.
And 3 is it's Loki.
It's just titled Loki
Party
on
Thor.
Earth.
it's it's the Party Thor episode.
Okay, so we're not sure if T'Challa as Star-Lord is gonna be Guardians of the Galaxy 1 beat for beat or something. We don't know, so it's hard to take that into consideration, because I love the Captain America part of the Marvel universe, and so some people's criticisms that this was a beat for beat retelling was I didn't agree with that necessarily. So it's just hard to say how this whole show is going to be if this is a beat for beat retelling of existing stories.
I get being a little annoyed that it's a beat for beat retelling, but I feel only up to a certain point, because spoilers, there is no tentacle monster in Captain America the First Avenger. It would be higher on my ratings if there was. I would have a lot of the respect for the writers if they had thrown in a fucking tentacle monster.
That was almost the part where I'm I kind of almost wish they stuck closer to the events of the first Avenger.
Oh, no, I love it because it's opened up a world of questions for me.
I love it too.
Made me give a shit about anything that happens in that movie.
I love it too, because I'm always what's their plan here exactly?
I won't get into it now because it should be later on in the conversation, but what we might know about Doctor Strange and what we saw in this episode might connect, because we know this anthology series is canon in the MCU. And in the beginning of this episode, and I think they said it one more time, they name dropped multiverse or multiversal stories. And so, what happened with Loki, that the multiverse is kind of broken free. We might see a lot of these characters show up in other properties.
Yeah. I'm also glad that in the intro, because the first time they said multiverse and multiversal was in the intro, which, by the way, dope intro, great intro, fun colors.
Bravo to Jeffrey Wright as well on the narration.
I would die for that man. I love everything he does. I am so fucking excited to see him as Commissioner Gordon in the Batman. I love that man. But I'm glad they reiterated both at the beginning and end that the Watcher can't intercede, because I feel like that's important to make clear to everybody. the Watcher literally can't do anything. Like, he's not even really a being. Like,
Yeah.
he is, but he isn't. Like,
It's not even like a sacred rule that maybe one of them will break someday.
no, they literally don't even have the power to do anything. They're just kind of like, they literally just watch.
Yeah.
Which, like, whoa, that brings up some existential thoughts in my brain
Yeah.
that I wasn't ready for.
I
but,
think like
here we
the
are.
few times they were like, "This is so bad, we need to do something." It's like they tend to go to someone even bigger than them.
They go to the Eternals. They go and get
The Eternals or what's his name? Shit, I just had it. Oh, the Living Tribunal.
Yes.
That would be like the other one, because that's kind of like Multiverse Court.
Yeah.
Coming this Wednesday on ABC. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that it was a beat for beat like retelling of the first Avenger, because it would have been really weird if they were just like, oh, so now she becomes Captain Carter, and none of that is even close to happening. It's like you kind of have to stay on the general tracks, I guess.
The goal was still the same. The goal was still to end World War II.
Yeah, and Red Skull's still a thing.
Red Skull still exists. Again, I would like to call out Jordan for being surprised that Red Skull was going to be in the show. That's still
There was just something about
mind-boggling.
the way that tweet was written that, like, 5 seconds after I sent it, I was like, well, yeah, but why are they showing us?
Because they assumed we'd know. Like,
I don't know.
We've seen less of the other episodes than this one.
Yeah, this is the one they've been pushing the most, and probably just because it's the pilot.
yeah. But the end goal, like, everybody else's motivations is the same. All that has changed is her. That's all that's changed. And like, so yeah, of course it's kind of beat for beat. The end goal is still the same. Like, we could get something really different in later episodes where, like, the end goal isn't the same. Like, T'Challa honoring his father, that's not going to be his birth father, T'Chaka, and avenging his death is not going to be the plot of the next episode, because
Yeah.
him being taken as a kid totally changes everything. So I think it just depends on each storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Like, Marvel
definitely.
Zombies isn't going to be a retelling of fucking anything.
Actually, it's a remake of The Walking Dead, but just the good seasons.
Oh no, that means there's going to be a wife beater and all sorts of crazy shit.
Oh, Hank Pym.
Oh my god, Jordan.
Am I wrong?
That's fucked up.
I'm not wrong.
I didn't say you were wrong, I said it was fucked up. Can I just say animated Stanley Tucci looked weird as fuck?
Yeah.
It has nothing to
Yeah.
do with anything. It just
His hair
looked
looked way
weird.
different. It was his
Yeah.
hair.
I was like, that's
He
not
had, like,
purchase
Conan
alum Stanley
O'Brien hair.
Tucci.
And he had like Conan O'Brien hair.
I think it's weird for them to kind of animate that thinning, thinning comb over style he has in that movie. Where it's like,
Yeah.
he does not have a full head of hair, but he has enough that some is still going across.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of came off like, yeah, fuck it. He's Conan now. Why not?
I would die for Howard Stark. Howard Stark
Yeah.
constantly yelling, basically, I am not a soldier. Please do not send me into combat. That is not what I signed up for. Is like my favorite thing when they're like, Stark, get in there. And he's like, no.
My job is pushing buttons is something I want embroidered on a t-shirt.
Yeah. He's like, no, like, I'm not going in. That is not my thing. That's not what I do. Like,
I think that would have been a cool, like, kind of like how some people said it was too similar to the actual first Avenger. Like, I think that would have been a cool what if like Howard Stark became the first Avenger and not, because the thing with Peggy is that she's very similar to Steve. Like when she when she gets a serum, like we know, okay, she's probably gonna do most of the things Steve was gonna do.
she's not going to be John Walker and lose her mind.
Well, she's not gonna be
Wait,
John Walker
what?
or Johann Schmidt, where like the serum makes her go haywire. Like she's still gonna be level-headed on the serum.
Right. But
Ow, ow.
we
Sorry.
let's talk about Captain Carter for a second. Like, what do you guys think about like her as Captain Carter? And like,
It was great.
dude, she kicked some butt, man.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
awesome.
Captain Carter gets shit done. Because the one thing I knew was different than the movie, because I was saying this before we started recording. Watching this also made me realize how little I remember of Captain America: The First Avenger. But when they're questioning the little one that becomes a computer in the second one, Zola.
Zola,
yeah. I know that in that they try to question him. He doesn't say anything. Tommy Lee Jones goes in. There was that really weird conversation over the steak, and then like it continues. In this, she was like, "I got him to talk. We're done. Here we go. He told me all this shit. Like, we're good. Let's go."
I kind of imagine that like she like threatened him with her big, like superhuman muscles.
She gets. How is that not getting shit done?
I'm not saying it's not. But it's just like, yeah, Tommy Lee Jones was like, "You gonna talk? No, you gonna eat the steak? I'm a vegetarian. Cool, it's mine."
Also, I was a little annoyed that they didn't send her on a USO tour, because I mean this in the nicest way, but if we had a super soldier female Captain America, they absolutely would have thrown that woman in a mini skirt and made her run around at USO tours. That's what they were to begin with.
Yeah.
It was just women in short skirts dancing, having a great time.
I think while I agree with you on that, I also think that it is like, it does make sense that they would try to hide that back then, because literally the commander, whatever his name is, was like, "You're gonna break a nail," and like making all these like sexist remarks and stuff. So I thought that was I did like the new dichotomy of the first super soldier being a woman and what that means.
Yeah,
especially back then.
Shout out to Bradley Whitford's amazing voice acting, as he hard emphasized, "I got a girl," like in this really weird way, and I was like, yes. Perfect. You did get a girl, you chauvinist ass. Like,
Bradley Whitford's misogynist voice is just A1.
And then seeing him turn his tune.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. He got
hilarious.
proven wrong like the little bitch he is. The whole USO thing, it was like, I liked how they joked about it. She was like, "Don't they fucking dare." It is true that it would have been historically accurate, as fucked up as it is. However,
I feel like, okay, but really quick, I'm so sorry, because I need to explain this better. I feel like sending a woman, a very attractive woman, in a low-cut shirt and a skirt across the country to sell war bonds would work better than Chris Evans' body.
But would the more muscular body have been for the male gaze of that time? I'm not saying anything good or bad about it. I'm just saying, to that time period, wouldn't they have preferred a more traditional, petite, smaller woman rather than a very muscular super soldier one that could crush you with her thighs?
I mean this in the nicest way, but in my brain, men see big titties and like everything else.
And nothing else.
like nothing else. Nice ass, nice tits, and nothing else is breaking through that. That's all you see. You know, like that's just kind of
you
how
could
my
have
brain
Steve
goes with
Buscemi's face, but if
1940s
Steve
men.
Buscemi's got some really nice cleavage, you're not going to notice.
And I mean specifically men in the 1940s, that I feel like this is the time when we were not that far away from, seeing a woman's ankle would send you in a murderous tailspin.
Yeah, we have
like,
lizard brains.
Yeah, like it's just like in the 1940s, I feel like the way men are portrayed is that they all had like one-track minds, and that like I don't know, I don't have a lot of reference.
Yeah, I mean I wasn't there in the 40s either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't either, just to clarify.
Yeah, I was studying overseas that decade.
But like I wanted to talk about just like her capability as a fighter, comparing it obviously, and this is twofold, because I think because she wasn't like sickly like Steve was, that the base of what could be exponentially like strengthened was just higher already, so that when she becomes a super soldier, she's just that much more stronger and faster and all that. And so obviously some of it's animation so that they can get away with like crazier stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like seeing her like suplex the truck and like doing all the like the motorcycle scene where she like rides it up the ramp and then kicks it into the tower, and then like that was some cool stuff, man.
She's just straight up throwing pilots out of planes. Like,
oh my
this
gosh.
is what I mean by she gets shit done. She murks motherfuckers, and like it's over. We're done. We kill Nazis and we go home. Like,
no, when she suplexed that truck, I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
And she didn't even realize that she could do that. And um, I think someone on Reddit made this comment of, because I don't know how tall uh, Peggy Carter / Haley Atwell is in real life, but um, typically like smaller people and or women are trained to fight in a way to take out larger opponents. Like when she fights that big Nazi dude or big Hydra dude, and she like goes for the knee joint, like that's like one of those like weak point kind of maneuvers that you're taught when you're facing like a bigger opponent. And because she's a super soldier now, she just like, that sound effect too was brutal. He like,
Yeah.
she wrecked that dude's knee. That was cool. That was awesome.
Yeah.
She is in real life. Haley Atwell is 5'7", which
Okay.
is like taller for a woman.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, I love it. I loved it so much. Um,
What did you guys?
can I just
Go ahead.
sorry? Okay, so I don't like disclaimer. I don't like the Steve Peggy relationship in the first Avengers to begin with. But now that she has the serum and he doesn't, they look like mother and son in the animation, and I can't look at it. I was like, this makes you guys would not be able to walk down the street together because people would think that you were like a creepy mom.
I know, like, in recent, like, I don't even years, like the recent year, the idea of a woman that is like so much bigger than you and getting crushed by her thighs has been like a meme and a thing on the internet, like especially with like Lady Dimitrescu and just all these other cosplayers that are like very well built, and also kind of coming off of Abby from last year's The Last of Us. Like that's just been a weird trend on the internet. But it's different when the guy that wants it is at least averagely built in height. Like Steve is malnourished.
And that's what I mean. Is to be clear, I am not saying that you shouldn't date, that like women shouldn't date men shorter than them. Date
No.
whoever you fucking want. It does not matter. I'm saying in this context, especially because in Captain America, they make him look like a child. And that's always been one of my complaints about the movie, is I think he looks too small and sickly in the first Avengers because he looks like a teenage boy.
I think in the animation it looks better.
I still don't think it looks great. I still think that he's like 5'3" and she's like 6'5", and it looks like a mother and a child.
The height isn't what gets me. It's how scrawny he is and how buff she is.
It's the same thing as Shaq and his girlfriend, where it does not compute because he is so much bigger than her. And
Yeah.
it's just like, you look at them and it's like, hey, she looks like a toddler next to you.
To be fair, everyone looks like a toddler next to Shaq.
Yes. I found out today, listening to Conan O'Brien and He's a Friend, that Shaq might be a flat earther.
No.
Yeah, and he justified it as he's driven across the country multiple times and has never felt himself go like this. And same thing about flying, like flying to China.
Hold on.
And it was very fun to listen to Conan be like, I don't know if you're joking. And I still don't know if he was joking.
Dang.
Yeah, it's in the Shaquille O'Neal episode of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
I was gonna say
Shaquille O'Neal on Flat Earth Conspiracy, March 2017. I'm joking, you idiots.
Thank God. Thank God.
However,
no one could tell.
In 2018, Kyrie Irving had some Flat Earth comments that he apologized for.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Brett, I cut you off about shit that does not matter.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was gonna say I really liked the Steve Peggy relationship in this episode because, and we knew it in the first Avenger, we knew it in Winter Soldier, we knew it in Endgame, that like they had that bond even before Steve got the serum, that they had that connection. And so seeing it with the roles reversed, especially with Steve being like frail and sickly, I thought it was super sweet that that bond was still there.
Yeah.
And that seeing Steve's angle, it's like Steve's version of like witnessing Peggy make that sacrifice as opposed to Steve.
Yeah.
I thought that was sweet.
I would also argue that Steve's was worse because he literally watched it. Peggy didn't watch it happen.
I would argue that, so to compare the two sacrifices, I would argue that Steve's was still more impactful just because it was a longer drawn out process. Like there was, I don't even know how many minutes in real time that was, but there was a process of him realizing, okay, I can't do anything with this plane except crash it. So he had like, 10, 15, whatever, 20 minutes, as opposed to this was much more instantaneous, and it was much more faster too for Peggy's, like, you just pushed the monster back in the wormhole.
No, what I meant was I think it was easier for Peggy to hear the plane go down than Steve, who had to watch her go through that.
Oh, go through the
And it was
portal.
harder for Steve to
Yeah.
watch her go through the portal, have no idea where she was going. Because at least Peggy, you can pretend for like 10 minutes that you'll go and like find the plane.
Yeah,
and
you could
possibly
trace the
find a body
coordinates.
or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
With this, she's just going in a portal with a tentacle monster that you just watched straight up murk Red Skull like he was a grape. Literally just.
He's
done.
not the Watcher anymore. At least
Yeah.
not in that timeline.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of this whole storm here.
So
Or not the Watcher.
the Guardian, yeah.
I get what you mean.
Going back to the Steve Peggy relationship thing, I do get that, like, especially with the way it was drawn, it's very weird to look at. I do like the idea of them kind of affirming that, like, this connection was there even without the beautiful chiseled body of one Chris Evans. As, yeah.
Go ahead. You can finish.
That part I just really like. I also liked how Steve was just like her biggest fan. He's like, yeah, you go do that. Fuck them if they tell you can't. Like, it was weirdly pure.
I don't like that Steve compared being small to being a woman in the 1940s. I was like, how did this get into the script, guys? None of you thought that was, like, sounded bad to compare being a small but still white man in the 1940s to the plight of being a woman in the 1940s.
Is it true? No. Is that a very ignorant thing someone in the 40s would have said? Probably.
Yes. But I'm like, come on, Steve is supposed to be better than this. But sorry.
I was gonna say, how did you guys like him and the Hydra Stomper storyline?
That
kind of subplot.
So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but on one hand, I would have liked to seen him die in the beginning, just because I felt that would have made like the sacrifice for Peggy being Captain Carter more impactful. But also, I did like him how he was still able to play a role and still like serve, because that's ultimately what Steve wanted to do. No serum or no serum, and so seeing him being able to contribute was awesome. And plus, that suit is badass. Like
the suit is great, yeah.
Seeing it powered by the Tesseract, like, and seeing it almost like this Mark I proto Iron Man type suit, it was pretty cool.
See,
oh,
go ahead. You go.
I love it because when the train blew up, I started dying laughing because I always say that, like, I want writers to kill off characters like that because nobody expects it. Like, nobody expects you to kill off big characters. It's why it bothers me that we know how many feature film contracts certain actors have with Marvel, so we know that there aren't stakes and that kind of shit. Because, like, I literally wrote in all caps, is Steve dead? And then my next note was, if this episode ends with, like, you finding out that Steve Rogers is the Winter Soldier, now, I'm gonna be so excited.
I thought that's where they were going with it, and I'm almost mad they didn't. Because
here's the thing. I hate Bucky and Steve together. I've realized I love Bucky Barnes. I just can't stand him through Steve's eyes. I'd be okay with that entire storyline if it was Becky. Was Peggy and Steve, because we saw that relationship and that romantic relationship build across an entire movie, and then his sacrifice and all of that, or her sacrifice, whichever universe you want to talk about it with. With Bucky, we're just, like, told they're best friends, and that, like, Steve has a weak point where Bucky comes in, but we're never really given a reason, because until he dies, we're never really given a reason that Bucky can't 110% take care of himself. Before he becomes the Winter Soldier. After that, he's, like, a little...
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah, I kind of wish that's where they were going to, because, like, they made it, they've told us, like, Captain Carter's going to be appearing in every season of What If. So I imagined we're kind of getting the Captain America trilogy, but, like, if it was Captain Carter.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, are we? Because it's weird. Like, Steve didn't die in that, or Steve didn't disappear after that train incident. They found him at the end. So now she's in, you know, at the end they show her come out when the events of the Avengers is happening. I'm now wondering, like, well, is Steve Rogers currently alive? Is she going to visit him in a nursing home?
No.
Yeah, no.
No.
She
that
only
man
li-
is so sick. That man died years ago.
That's what. Yeah,
Like,
that was my
man
thing. I
died
was
years
like,
ago.
Peggy Carter living to like 80 something by 2014. I'm like, I see it. She was healthy.
Okay, makes sense.
Steve, nah.
He died in like the 70s or something.
Yeah, like he died like
He
young.
he did not
Like,
he did not see Jimmy Carter as president. I'll put it that
No.
way.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I would argue he died sometime around the time JFK did.
That would have made him 40-ish.
Well, because he had scarlet fever, right? As a kid, that's one of the things. on
Yeah,
his
he was
movie.
like, and he's
That
like
can
20
cause you to have-
something in the first Avenger.
and that can cause you to have all sorts of heart problems. He'd be dead. Like,
Yeah.
that man is dead,
Yeah,
and I think Peggy knows that.
Yeah.
This sickly little weirdo is dead. Sorry.
Dang.
Skinny Steve is so funny to me. I always feel like the list of things wrong with him is a little bit of overkill, but like I enjoy it. I think it's funny.
Hmm.
yeah. I feel like you hear that story about a lot of people, like in that time period, where they're like, they were a sickly child and they got the this and the that. They caught that at this age,
Yeah.
and then they just lived to 24, and we were like, good enough.
Yeah. I need to both complain and congratulate someone really quick. Sebastian Stan. What was he doing in this episode? Like, his voice acting was so weird.
Yeah, it
Like,
wasn't.
he was... Go ahead, Brett.
Oh, you go ahead.
It was just weird. Like, I didn't... Like, every line he delivered was delivered in a very weird way.
Yeah, and I didn't know if it was like he didn't know how to play it off when his character's kind of bouncing off Peggy and Howard more so than it's bouncing off of Steve.
I want to say this was his first time voice acting, right?
That's what I think it is.
I know he did the Captain America video game like 10 years ago, but I think this is about it, right? Compared to... Yeah, so I think he's just new to it.
And that's what I think it is that I think a lot of actors who are not... voice acting is very, very difficult because you do not have anyone else to play off of. You are in a hot box with no windows except for a little one on the door, headphones on, a screen of whatever you're recording playing in front of you, and you're just reading your lines. And you're hearing the lines of the people, your actors, in the headphones, but they're not in the room. And I just, like... I feel like he wasn't used to having another actor to play off of. And it's just, whoa, my man, what are you doing here? What are you doing here, my guy? But, go ahead, because I'm about to change the subject. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought Haley Atwell and Dominic Cooper, I thought all the other actors reprising their roles did awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I thought the guy they brought in to play Steve, since Chris Evans isn't in it, did a really good job.
Yeah, Josh Keaton, he's like a prolific voice actor. So
he's great, and
he was excellent. Yeah,
I think he took a lot of the like mannerisms Chris Evans has in his voice and did them really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw a connection online that I guess there was a line in this episode where somebody went, "Oh, Barnes stole a Jeep," and someone pointed out that Bucky was probably the guy that taught Steve how to hotbox a car in
Howard.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Howard was like, why am I like something?
Barnes
stole a Jeep. Like, I love Howard in this episode, especially at the end when Peggy's like, "All right, you got to go to this castle with us," and he's like, "I'm not a soldier. Like, stop trying to bring me to combat." Like, I literally was like, just let Howard Stark live. He wants to, screw around and like drink and all that and have a good time.
Let him be a playboy.
Be in combat. Yeah. Okay, so all I have left are questions that this episode left me with. Was summoning a tentacle monster from somewhere else always the plan?
We just
didn't get
so.
to see it?
Because in the first Avenger, the big thing is like, oh, this can power all our weapons. And then Red Skull goes, you guys are idiots. It can do more than that. And wants to open a portal, but never explains why, as far as I know. He never says, oh, I want to bring in this being and take over the Earth with it.
I mean, he doesn't say that in the show either, but...
Yeah.
No, he said they want to take over the world. They said something about, like, they are trying to get a being.
The person who's coming from beyond... I have something coming from beyond the stars that will take over the world. I wrote the line down because it's weird.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brett.
Is that what he says in What If or in the movie?
What If?
Okay. I was gonna say because like one of the things that we haven't really talked about is how the events play out differently. Is that they capture Zola way earlier in this
Okay.
timeline.
They
Like
capture Zola
it's
earlier, and he gets the Tesseract later, because him getting the Tesseract's the opening scene of the movie. Him going to Norway and getting it happens like halfway through in here.
yeah, because what you're talking about with the USO tour, because Carter wasn't doing that for months on end, she was able to kind of actually probably contribute to finding out what Hydra was doing back at whatever military base they were at, and so
Yeah.
they're able to get that process done faster than what happened in the first Avenger.
Yeah, so Peggy steals the Tesseract back from them. I don't know why Johann cut that thing out of the church and brought it with them, but when they get it back at the end and open the portal, he took it out of the Hydra Stomper suit.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan.
Yeah, but they still show him when he's in that
No, they
place
don't.
in Norway.
No, he cut it out. That piece of the church, the tree, he
Yeah.
cut it out of the church and brought it back to that castle that they like hang at.
They never brought it back. They were en route to bring it back, and that's when Captain Carter. That's her first like
Took
mission.
it, yeah.
That's her first mission. Is that she gets it en route before they even do anything with it.
Yeah. The whole movie just happens a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The second question I would like to pose to the group about things that change now. Do you think that Tony has less daddy issues now?
Yeah, because no Winter Soldier. I see. This is
No Winter Soldier to murder Howard. Bucky's not. I mean, there are Winter Soldiers presumably, but it's not Bucky Barnes.
Mhm.
And it wasn't Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
It was this other like.
He
person.
didn't grow up hearing his dad talk about like, I made Captain America and I knew Captain America. Captain
And
America
it
doesn't
wasn't-
exist.
And it wasn't, oh, Captain America threw a plane into the ocean for his country, like, da da da. No, I saw a lady go through a portal with a tentacle monster, and that was fucking wild. Like, so I'm curious, does Tony have less daddy issues?
Or Howard Stark came back to the States and said that, and they were like, okay, we're putting you in this special room, and now Tony has daddy issues because his dad was in a, what did they call him back then? Sanitarium for his life, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know. I don't know which episode it is, if they've even announced it. But the Killmonger episode,
King
like,
Killmonger, yeah.
yeah, is that going to play a role with Tony in terms of what happens with Howard in this episode? Because that alone changes Tony in where he's at in his life, obviously. So that crux of him making that decision to become Iron Man or not, he's at a completely different base before he even gets to that point. So that's going to completely change that dynamic potentially if it's connected at all in that way.
Yeah. I just want to know if he has less daddy issues. Because, like... And, like, I'm curious about... I know we're not going to get it. But I'm curious now about the... If nothing else changed in this universe except that it was Peggy Carter... Everything else, not the what if Peggy Carter. She does exactly what Steve does in Captain America: First Avenger. She goes down in the she does everything that happens in What If, comes out of that portal, that whole thing. I don't think that Tony and Peggy would have the dick measuring contest that Steve and Tony do in Avengers 1.
Well, no, because that's just a guy
Where they, like,
thing.
hate each other. Yeah. Where they, like, hate each other, and I feel like that movie, like... I feel like Avengers 1 would be very different if Captain Carter was the first Avenger, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, because the dick measuring contest doesn't happen. But they still, like... They might still not like
Tony
working
won't
with
have
each
as many
other.
daddy issues.
Yeah.
How? How do you not like working with Peggy's super easy? And Tony's not sexist. I mean, he can be, but he doesn't think that women can't fight as well.
Yeah.
Probably because at that point, has he gotten his ass beat by Black Widow yet?
No, that
Yeah.
happens in Iron Man 2.
In Iron Man 2.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, so
yeah.
it has, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he gets his fucking...
No, he
I
didn't,
don't
he
think
didn't
he's
get his
getting-
ass kicked. Happy did.
Either... Jordan, if you watch anyone, I'm going to use Chris as an example. If you watch Chris get his ass beat by fucking, like, me Wouldn't you be afraid of me and be like, women can fight like men?
Joke's
It's
on
fine.
you. I'm already afraid of you.
I know.
No, but no. Yeah, no, he's into the fact that he knows girl can fight, and he doesn't mind it, because Natasha fucking flips happy, and he turns to Pepper and goes,
Yeah.
I want one.
I want one.
No, is her response. I love
I want one for me.
I love that pair of lines. Like, I know that his phrasing is fucked up, but like the way it's played off
super
is very
fucked
funny.
up, but
Yeah.
I truly wish that the follow up to that was happy. You're my new head of security. Happy, like, we'll find another place for you. I'd be like, I want her guarding me. Like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It was good. I'm excited to see where this goes with her.
Yeah, I was talking to people online today on Twitter of like, she could, it's kind of like with that multiverse thing that I talked about at the beginning. Like, I could see her showing up in like a live action movie as Captain Carter. Like, that wouldn't surprise me, especially with what happened with Loki. Like,
Yeah.
an Avengers movie, the next Captain America movie, you know.
Yeah, so that's like a double-edged sword for me because I don't want 8,000 different characters. I do not want to see Robert Downey Jr. I'm just gonna say it. I do not want to see Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans in a Marvel movie ever again.
Oh,
They had
won't be.
such good endings
They
and I
won't
know, yeah. I don't want
no,
it.
I
I want
am
it to just end.
Very okay with them doing multiversal things and making characters from other universe permanent, but do not tease us with here's a multiverse of Steve Rogers or Tony Stark.
I don't want to see him. I don't want them to have. I don't want a multiverse Steve Rogers or Tony Stark to have a role in the live action. I don't want any
Even
of
if
it.
it's
I don't
just
wanna
for
see
that
them.
movie, it's like, I don't
No,
want it. Honestly,
I don't wanna see it.
When Far From Home was coming out, I was afraid that they were going to have a clip of Tony that was new, that Mysterio was going to have like created. And I was just like, no. And that's why I'm happy they just went
No,
with the
but what we
suit.
got was worse. What we got was worse.
That's just
It was
because you
terrifying.
You
That
just
was
didn't
fucking
like zombie
terrifying.
Iron Man, but it is a better choice than
That's not
making
even
Robert
it.
Downey
He
Jr.
just
come back.
popped out. It was like literally like that scared the absolute shit out of me. In
I
theaters.
remember because you hit me in the
That
chest.
scene is awesome. That scene's awesome.
Oh, it's a great scene. It just scared the fuck out of me.
Which got
It's
me.
where the Spider-Man movie took a turn. I was like, what am I watching?
I think Captain Carter though is way different than having
That is way different. I'm fine with
than
that.
having Robert
Yeah.
Downey Jr. come back. Because
Yeah.
one thing, Haley Atwell's been pretty active, even though she's only been in one movie technically. Like, she's still been active in the Marvel universe over the last decade, whereas Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. are like, yeah, we're out.
We're
Which-
done.
Yeah.
Which and yeah, so it's like that I'm fine with. Even if we saw like more versions of Thor or more versions of I'm sure we're gonna see more versions of Loki, but more versions of Thor, more versions of Loki, more versions of Killmonger. Well, I don't want the multiverse being opened up to become a way that takes away from there are certain characters in the MCU that their story ended so well that I don't want to see that changed.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, sorry.
that's the issue with comics, right? Is like
Mhm.
characters die and come back and
Yeah, because no one's ever dead in comics.
do crazy
Yeah.
things. So,
But I don't think anyone in comics ever gets a story, an arc, the way Tony in the MCU did, of like growth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to. I think that his story from Iron Man 1 to Endgame is so good. Even his arc just in Iron Man to Iron Man 1 and then to Endgame, I think is just so good that I don't want to see it messed with. Steve's is fine. I just don't want Steve back because everybody loses their mind for him, and I want, you know. No, I want Anthony Mackie and fucking Sam Wilson to like have their moment as
Yeah.
Captain America.
I know there were people upset that Marvel was actually using the @CaptainAmerica Twitter to promote Captain Carter for the week. And
Which was very weird.
Yeah, because the people were upset that they removed Sam Wilson's name and picture off of the account for the time being.
It's literally back already. Like, it's advertising.
It's just
Like,
marketing. Yeah.
it's not even real. It's not like actual
I-
Sam Wilson is tweeting. Sorry.
See, part of me is really happy that, like, with the @Iron Man and @Captain America are just more advertisement things for Marvel and maybe specifically those characters, and not Marvel trying to tweet as these characters.
Imagine. Sorry. But Brett, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that whole thing was hilarious because like yeah, they're just marketing tools so that with the release of this episode that is featuring a captain character, like of course they're gonna have them market
Yeah.
Yeah.
that for the week or whatever. And like I love the Captain America universe in the Marvel universe. So, but I don't even follow like Captain America on Twitter because
No.
like I don't it's not gonna show me anything new that I won't see elsewhere. So
Exactly. Like it's a Twitter account, and like we're getting a full movie with. They've already announced we're getting a full movie with Sam
And
as Captain, like
possibly a
Captain
second
America
season.
4. Yeah, like we're going back to him. I understand why people were upset, but they're not replacing him. It was a marketing thing for a couple of days for a fake Twitter account.
yeah, Captain Carter's awesome. Her suit's awesome. Her shield's dope. Like
That's the other thing too, is it's not like they turned it back to like Steve Rogers. It's still a underrepresented person in
In
comics
the role of
with,
Captain America.
yeah. And it's going back to Steve or to Sam. I can't talk today. I made Bucky and Peggy one person.
Becky, the basic bitch of the Avengers.
oh god.
Oh god. But like
Her power's
it's
getting
like,
more
fine.
her power's getting more likes than you on Instagram.
But yeah, it's like I'm excited to see where it goes. This episode was good, but I'm excited to like
Yeah.
move to like weirder shit.
Next week seems like it's going to be fun. I wonder if it's just going to kind of be some of them are going to be more further away, some of them are going to be less, or if it's going to kind of be like progressively each kind of drift away from the character or movie they're showing more and more.
Are we excited for Gamora, daughter of Thanos, next week? Because I am.
I thought
Is that next week?
No, next week was
think
T'Challa
so.
as Star-Lord.
Who does Star Lord pair up with, my man?
Yeah, but I thought the Gamora one was its own episode.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. From all the reports we've gotten, Gamora as daughter of Thanos isn't its own episode.
Is this just like the iteration of that character where she is totally buying into Thanos's
Yeah,
plan?
it's basically
Yeah.
Gamora legitimately is working for Thanos.
Yeah, and she's dope. She has his big knife thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to call that weapon.
It was like a helicopter blade.
Like a dual blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like the Knights of the Old Republic video game had those like kind of dual swords, so I'm trying to remember what they were called in that game.
Because it's not a double-edged sword, because that's one that has a blade on both sides, like this side and
It's
this
a
side.
double-sided
not like,
sword, if anything.
It's like a
But it's
staff
not a
or
sword,
something.
yeah, because it's a rectangle.
It's
Yeah.
very weird. It looks like helicopter blades, but
It looks like
She
those
is that
old-fashioned
and, like-
razor blades they used to shave men's beard with, but like 2 of them.
yeah. She is that, and she's in armor that's closer to Thanos's and all that shit.
Right.
And there's a rumor that we're gonna see a little bit of Gamora, daughter of Thanos, in Guardians 3.
With the
Because
2014
that
Gamora.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the new Gamora, because she's got to go through her whole arc again of like realizing that her dad is a fucking psycho.
He's also dead now, so...
Also, he's super dead now. But you know, here we are. Yeah. So I think it was a good start. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah. They really haven't given us all 9, have they?
Not officially. There have been a lot of rumors and things that can be confirmed. So we know that we're getting. And isn't it 10 episodes?
No, 9,
9,
because the
9.
10th wasn't able to be finished, so it got pushed into the second season.
Fantastic. So
We had Captain Carter.
we had Captain Carter. Next week we're going to
T'Challa
T'Challa
as
Star-Lord,
Star-Lord.
which from what it looks like, that will pair up with all the Guardians in the same way. It looks like it's going to be a conglomeration of Guardians 1 and Avengers 1.
Oh
Because
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
shot from
that hero
Avengers 1,
shot.
but with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it looks like. So we're getting those. We're getting Marvel Zombies. We're getting, what if Thor wielded Mjolnir?
I mean, Loki.
Like, what if he was worried? Yeah, Loki, sorry.
Wait, what if what?
What if Loki wielded Mjolnir.
I think that's part of the Loki on Earth one. That's the third.
No,
episode.
it's a different episode.
Okay, so then
they
we're getting
confirmed
Loki.
that there are 2 Loki episodes.
So then Loki on Earth is then its own.
Is the like party Thor episode that nobody knows what the fuck that means?
Yeah.
Is that just Thor not going through his arc in Thor 1 and he's still like a party boy?
I don't know. And they've released, because the only ones they've released merch for already is Captain Carter, this Loki comes to Earth party Thor episode, and T'Challa as Star-Lord. We know King Killmonger is confirmed, and King Killmonger has to do something with Iron Man 1.
Mm-hmm.
And 2.
No, supposedly Tony has an episode. I don't remember what it's supposed to be about.
So the one that's a deviation on Iron Man 2, and you see Tony in the donut, and then
that's something
Nick
else.
Fury walks in and like tranquilizes someone in the shop.
So there are a couple of rumors of what that is, because there's also a rumor that we're getting a what if Hawkeye shot Thor. What if he did what he was told and took the shot like he was supposed to in Thor 1? Wait, but the rumor is that that's the what if Loki, like, what
it's
if
the same
Loki
episode.
wielded Mjolnir? Yeah, there's like a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of confusion with.
I think
with
the
all
idea is
Thor
like
stuff.
Hawkeye takes the shot, he kills Thor as a mortal, Loki comes down to Earth and is worthy. That's how I imagine those events would go.
So that's a whole thing. We're getting zombies, and we're getting Doctor Strange for Sorcerer Supreme, where he's it's what if Doctor Strange was a disciple of Dormammu. And we're getting the rumor is
Spider-Man.
we're getting Steve Rogers as Spider-Man.
Oh. But with
That's been all the news going around. Yeah, that there's some tie-in to Doctor Strange, but that it's Steve Rogers as Spider-Man.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which, like, that's just hilarious to me. I don't know why that's funny to me.
Hey,
and
listen.
I'm aware that I think it's supposed to be like a modern Steve Rogers. I have no idea, but I have so many. I want it to be 1940s Steve.
See, no, I just like the idea that's like, hey, listen, we couldn't get you the super soldier serum, but rumor has it, this spider, it's going to do the same thing.
Let us put this spider on you until it bites, and irritate it until it bites you.
Yeah.
Well, remember the Spider-Man comic was like 62 or something, so
Yeah.
whatever fake technology they were working on back then, it's not far. It's only 20 years, so. I do want to say that the Marvel
have
Legends
they modernized the spider in new Spider-Man comics? Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud.
You are interrupting people is what you're doing.
No, it's okay. I think with that, like, it's the origin story of Spider-Man is just you can just throw in some scientific mumbo jumbo.
But like, that's what I'm saying. In the 50s or 60s, they're just like, it's radioactive, because that meant anything back then. But then like, in the Garfield movies, they were like, let's actually get kind of real with this, and like, it's a genetically modified spider that has this DNA that. It's like, okay, like that. I follow the logic there. Have they done that in the comics? Or they're like, nah, it was magic.
Now there have been a couple iterations. There's one that it was a spider that got into like a nuclear plant and was like fucking around in there and became radioactive, and then walked to Queens and bit Peter Parker.
No, because I do know that it's like the whole Madame Web thing. It's like, no, she had destined him specifically as to get bitten. But like,
yeah, that's like not a thing anymore. The whole Madame Web thing. Yeah. What's hilarious is when I saw that musical, I did not realize Madame Web is an actual character in the show. I was like, this is fucking dumb.
Oh, you thought she was original to the musical?
Like, yeah! Like, I thought they just wanted, like, another fucking weird-ass power ballad in the show. Or, like, what if we created a character? Because they also don't call her Miss Web, or whatever the fuck her name is.
Madam Web.
They call her, like, Arachne or something like that, which was very confusing to me, too, because that's, like, a Greek mythology thing. Like, I was very confused. And she just stands there and sings and tells Peter Parker a story about how, like, this is his destiny, and then she drops him, and life goes on. Like, the musical's weird.
They've done some weird things with Spider-Man throughout the years.
That show was a good time, though.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Brett?
I was going to say the Marvel Legends figures of Hydra Stomper looks amazing, and I think they will do one for Captain Carter too, because I was like, oh man.
Oh yeah, they could sell a ton of merch of Captain Carter.
Yeah,
and it'd be better than any fucking John Walker merch.
I don't know, man. I got this
Don't you fucking do it.
right here, man.
Disgusting.
I hate that he has a second head. That like a child could make it that man is holding someone's decapitated head, holding his own decapitated head.
Well, because they got the mold of his helmet on there, so one without it, one with it. But yeah.
Remember how there was that original cut in Endgame when Thanos was going to come with like 2012 Steve's decapitated head?
Yeah.
What if
But that was a thing in the script originally?
What if when Steve fought himself,
Yeah,
he had his own decapitated head?
Originally in Endgame, there was supposed to be a scene where Thanos starts hopping through time too, and he goes back to Avengers 1.
Or
and
no, I think it was
comes down through the portal.
Or was it just 2014 Cap? Like his time period?
No, it was Avengers 1.
It was Avengers, yeah.
And he kills Iron Man and Steve and brings back Steve's decapitated head and throws it at Thor, Iron Man, and Steve. And Disney went, "That's really fucking dark. Can we cut that, please? That is so dark."
And there was this like, can we still put a beheading somewhere in the movie?
I feel like that idea got pitched, and somebody was like, "No, what is wrong with you?"
See, my favorite Reddit comment was, Disney, no beheadings. The Russo's first draft. How about 2?
Good lord, I can't. It's fucking dark. Can you imagine like a 7-year-old that loves Steve Rogers in the movie theater as Thanos throws a decapitated head at him?
I heard stories of kids walking out of Infinity War like dressed like Spider-Man, just bawling their fucking eyes out.
Well, because these movies are not meant for children, but,
No, and a child's not going to go, "Hey, Tom Holland's got another contract."
Right.
And children are dumb. Like, one of my favorite things in the world is in CinemaSins video of Batman v Superman, at the end, when you see the coffin, like, the dirt levitate.
Yeah.
At the end of the video, when CinemaSins goes, "Oh, look, he's still alive. Raise your hand if you were surprised by this. Now lower your hand if you're younger than 7 years old, or younger than 7 years old." Because it's like, as a kid, you don't realize that, like, characters don't die. Yeah. Like, nobody dies in comics.
Except the Waynes, Uncle Ben, and Gwen Stacy.
And Gwen Stacy doesn't even really stay dead.
No, they found a way to bring her back without bringing her back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm excited to see what other what-ifs we get in the following weeks, guys. Any other last comments, final words?
No.
Captain Carter rocks. Yeah, I can't wait to see T'Challa next week, and I'm interested to see how much they deviate from like the existing stories we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's Marvel. Like basically anything they serve up, I'll eat. So I love it. Yeah, it's fun.
I hope we really get a what if about Becky.
Shut the fuck up.
All right, on that note, guys, everyone's socials will be in the description down below. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.